First time I met Mike was at the Excellence in Education Committee meeting at the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce. And Mike's sitting across the table, and there were about 20 people in the room. And there's this guy asking these really probing questions. And a lot of times in committees, it's just kind of groupthink. And Mike was challenging the standard groupthink. And I said, wow, those are great questions. And we need to think about that stuff.
I would describe Mike to people who don't know him as an extremely committed person.
My first contact with Mike Brenan was through a letter that he sent me. He had read a book that I wrote about faith and freedom, and he had a lot of ideas that he wanted to talk about. A few months later, I actually met him at a forum that I organized for business leaders. He was very different than most people who talked to me at those events, because instead of telling me what I should be doing or what Washington should be doing, he wanted to know what he could do to help me, to help South Carolina, and to help our country.
I've seen him come with great commitment and great passion to the work that he was going to do as a volunteer. I've also seen Mike do something that we don't see very often, and that is a corporate leader who doesn't mind letting his faith as well as business principles guide him in his decision making.
Actually, what really attracted me to him initially was just sitting in Sunday school and listening to him participate in Sunday school and just hearing that side of him, and just his faith and the depths of his faith, and just how it was so easy for him to talk about. And that to me was the most attractive thing initially.
Mike cares about people. We do a lot of business together, and it's always serious. And then I'll get an email over the weekend from Mike. I'm just thinking about you and your family, or some issue that he knows is happening in my life, and just said, I want you to know I said a prayer for you, and it means a lot.
His faith guides everything he does, but he is truly an example of someone who is serving others in a way that would help their lives be better, as well as to glorify God.
Mike is a very conservative person by philosophy, but he is not one of those people that lets his philosophy think for him. He would work his way through problems.
He's just a tireless worker for improving life for our citizens in South Carolina and in our region.
The thing I always found with Mike, within a couple of hours, if Mike took away a task from a meeting, he did it. I mean, he was already on it, already accomplished whatever his role from the meeting assignment was, and he was ahead of everybody else.
I was just impressed with the amount of time, energy, innovation, and leadership that he provided while still carrying on his corporate responsibility in his bank.
It's interesting how much time Mike Brenan gives to the community, but it speaks a lot of his ability to manage a lot of different and lead a lot of different things that are going at the same time, that are running concurrently. And Mike's into a lot of different things and always does a good job with whatever he takes on.
When he does agree to do something, when he does volunteer his time in any capacity, he gives 100% of himself. I mean, he will be involved. He's not just gonna have his name on it, but he still, people will say to me, gosh, Mike's involved in so many things with his job, and you probably never see him, and that's not true. He just always makes time to see all of us too. He just has done a really good job of doing that.
I think Mike deserves the Humanitarian of the Year because everything that he has been involved in, from the financing for public transportation, for education, everything is devoted to improving the lives of his fellow human beings.
You cannot be in a conversation for more than 30 seconds with Mike Brenan without knowing of his passion and commitment to improving the quality of education at all levels.
He came to the conclusion that we need to fundamentally transform the way the system of education in South Carolina, because the learning styles of students is so different from what it was 120 years ago when this system was designed.
Our youngest child is 21. So it's not about doing it for our children in school. It's because he just believes it's so important for children, and he realizes in the state of South Carolina there is a large population of children who are not, who are not being served well at all.
I mean, this is a guy that didn't grow up here, doesn't really have a deep, well, now he's got deep roots in the community, but he came into the community new, and man, he put his roots down, and he said, I'm, intentionally or not, I'm going to make a difference in this community. And Mike really went to bat for public transportation in our community, not only out front, but in the background too. And I'm not sure that without Mike making that statement and driving that group to think a little bit differently about what we were doing, that we would be sitting here with the resources that are before CMRTA.
When you talk about what does Mike do beyond his civic work and the education work he does, I've often wondered about that. What does Mike do for fun?
I trade my soul for a wish, pennies and dimes for a kiss. I wasn't.
So Mike calls me and he says, guess what the chamber wants to do? And I said, call me maybe. He goes, yeah. And I said, you have to do it.
They put me in the video to make Mike look good.
But that's one thing, he really does like to dance. And he's a good dancer, he has great rhythm.
I hope Julie was giving him a few lessons.
He will have no problems being the first one to go out there and being the only one out there, which for me, that's really cool, because a lot of times people get shy, and men especially. So he does have that, that little funny side of himself. He just doesn't show it very often.
Mike Brenan, you are so deserving of this honor. You've given to this community, you've given to our state, you've given to your family, and you've given to each of us individually in immeasurable ways that you will never know about.
Mike, on behalf of the Claflin University family, congratulations.
Mike, I'm very proud of you. I have enjoyed working with you, and you are most deserving of Humanitarian of the Year.
And also, we thank you for your friendship. Your friendship means a great deal to us personally.
Mike, congratulations to you and Julie for this honor tonight. Thank you for all you've done for our state and your encouragement to me. I look forward to continuing to work with you in the future.
I'm so proud of him for being recognized for this event. I thank all of you for bestowing this celebration, this recognition on him, and it's indeed my pleasure and my honor to recognize along with you the Humanitarian of the Year Award, Mike Brenan.
Dad, I remember when I first moved here and I was trying to make a name for myself, and everybody would say, oh, you're Mike Brennan's daughter. And I used to get frustrated because I wanted to be Aaron. And 10 years later, I make sure that everybody knows I'm Mike Brennan's daughter because I'm proud of it and I love you.
Mike, I'm surprised it took us this long to recognize you for all the great things you've done for our community. Thank you very much.
Mike, I know it's hard for you to believe this, but I'm semi-speechless right now, which I'm glad they have that on camera. I just want to tell you I am really proud of you, and you are an amazing man, wonderful father, and I am just blessed to be your wife, and I love you very, very much.
That was perfect.